Generation Witch. I want to look at today my very, very favourite festival of the whole year. And this is, of course, the Mayday Beltane. I love this festival. It's got everything. It's got fun and parties and flowers and music and dancing and maypoles, drawing circles. It's very witchy, very pagan. And it's one of the few festivals of the year that hasn't got any Christian overtones associated onto it, which I personally love. Literally, everything that you're going to do on May Day is from our pagan forebears. So let's start by having a look at what Beltane is. Beltane marks the first day of summer. Now, I think many of you will be thinking, well, it's not quite summer yet, it's still spring. But no, summer in the pagan household comes in at May, June and July. So the 1st of August, which is the festival of Lammas, will be the first day of autumn. However, this particular first day of summer is also marking the first day of the light 6 months of the year. So this is when the sun is really rising. As Samhain or Halloween celebrates the darker half of the year, Beltane is the beginning of the light. And so therefore we're coming into summer, and as anybody who knows me knows that I love the summer. I love it, everything about it. You know, the warmth, the sun, the flowers, the going out, it's great. So therefore I think that this festival is actually just made for me. Beltane means fire of Bel, and it is a fire festival. Farmers in olden days might have pushed their cattle between two bonfires in order to cleanse them for the coming, harvest or the coming season. Or they might not have, because it's very distressing for the cattle and they are with child at the moment or just giving birth. So depending on the farmer, they might or might not have done this. But it is a time for the milk. Milk is at its best during this season. And so you should eat a lot of butter and a lot of milk. And if you want to have butter in your life, you make the charm. Come, butter, come. So do that on Beltane and you'll get good butter for the rest of, the month. But mostly it's really a sun festival, isn't it? So we're kicking off the sun, the summer season, with a fire in honour of the sun. It's also in honour of the virile and vigorousness that's happening at this time of year. You might have been listening to my previous videos where I continuously say that spring is a very feminine time of year. Imbolc is all about the goddess, and so is Ostara all about the goddess, and the weeks in between are all about the goddesses. However, May Day is where the male comes into prominence, and he is celebrated in the UK by a lot of names. These can be the Summer King, the May King, Herne the Hunter, Robin Hood is a good one, Jack in the Green, Jack Green, or, as we like to call him, the Green Man. This is an old tradition, and he is now stalking the land, bringing forth sexual fervour. It's a really exciting, vibrant time with him, bringing up all the girls, and that's why the girls tend to be the ones who dance around a maypole, and not only are they winding up the energy, but they're releasing it up to the Green Man. It's incredibly phallic, a maypole, isn't it? They might well have just used a tree if they couldn't get hold of a maypole, but the tradition really wanted you to have a maypole. I love a bit of maypole dancing. I love the ribbons and the glamour and the white dresses and the skipping and the accordion. It's just so much fun. I think that's why I like May Day so much. It's just a fun festival. All this energetic, virile excitement lends itself to making babies, and May babies are very, very blessed. Not just those born in this month, but those conceived in this month. And so should you be thinking about having children, why not try and get pregnant now? And should you be having some issues, maybe, with your fertility, May and May Day is a prime month in order to resolve those issues and get pregnant. There is a particularly fine turfed out carving called the Cerne Abbas Giant, which is in Dorset, who's this wonderful, lovely pagan figure with a very virile manhood. It's said if you can get out of the way of the Morris dancers who'll be there on May morning, if you can get up very early on May morning and go and make love on his manhood, you will definitely become pregnant then. So have a go. I mean, it might not be that particular session, but what it does is it brings all your energy and winds it all up into the perfect alignment for the next time that you're fertile, but then you will get pregnant. What this does is enable the energy flowing throughout you and your partner's body to come to the perfect format for you to get pregnant. I mean, you might not be fertile at that moment. Well, it might force the fertility issue at that moment. However, it will ensure that you get pregnant. I'm not suggesting that you do this necessarily, because there'll be a lot of Morris dancers, Morris dancing their way, these mad men, as the Elizabethans called them, who like to jump up and down in an ecstasy of sexual vibrance. I love it. I think this is hilarious. It is a perfect festival for the young, isn't it? Because it's a time to let off a little bit of steam after we've been cooped up in the darkness of the winter. And also the April and March months have been they're called the lean and hungry months, because there's not very much food about, and it's not great eating, and it's not great things to do. It's still really wet and cold and muddy. And May is when finally the flowers blossom. So this is a time for you to really let off steam. And often you would let off steam by going into the woods and having a maying. A maying means to either go gathering the blossoms of the surrounding countryside to make into garlands, or to get up to a little bit of naughtiness in the woods with your chosen partner. So let's have a quick look at what I'm going to be doing on Mayday, very excitingly. Well, I'm obviously going to get up with the dawn, if not just slightly before. There's a very old tradition. It's first recorded by Samuel Pepys in the 1600s, but it's actually much older than this, where a girl or a maiden, or even an older woman, will go out on May morn and use the dew that forms on the grass to bathe her face. It was considered that dew that you took from underneath an oak tree was particularly fine. This would ensure that you'd be beauteous for the whole year. Likewise, if you had a well in your garden, you would have to go out and be the first person to draw the well water, because this also draws in the May. Your countenance becomes beautiful if you then wash in it. So it's very important to be the first person to do lots of washing on May morning. You also need to then bring the hawthorn blossoms, the May blossoms. These are what light up the English countryside at this time, wreathing it in this bridal, snowy beauty throughout the countryside. I mean, May is so stunning. You can't get the buzz of the insects, and the life that comes out with the May blossom is really, truly thrilling. So you gather in your May blossom and your garlands, and different areas will have different styles of gardens. Some will have hoops that you decorate with flowers, some will have poles, some will have headdresses, whatever it is, your particular itinerary for decorating your May Day bowers. Go and get your May Day flowers. There is a rather sweet custom here where if you leave a sprig of a flowering hawthorn at your friend's door in May, then this will bring them love and luck. So I'm going to do a couple of that. And it is also the time when you've brought down your bowers and you've made your garlands that the boys start up. So what the boys do is they go to the processional ground where the maypole is and wait there, awaiting for their queen. The May Queen is pure fairy. This is a representation of either the May Queen, who's a fairy queen, or the goddess. I suspect it's mostly a fairy queen who is represented by any human May Queen who is paraded through the streets. When I was young, I grew up in this village where they did this. It was huge. I mean, literally huge. It was the biggest event of the year. And to be the May Queen I never made it to May Queen. I only ever made it to May Queen's attendant. But I was very pleased to be that, I have to say. And to be the May Queen was considered such an honour. And they were May Queen for, several weeks afterwards. It was remembered that they were the May Queen. So once your king and queen are wed, you will have your maypole dancing, your feasting and your games. And this is family fun games. One of my favourite places to go in Devon is Lustley, where they have a brilliant May Day celebration with lots of games like duck racing and three-legged and the maypole dancing and all sorts of fun of the fair. And it is just hilarious and a laugh. You will eat lamb, you will drink some cider if you live in the West Country. I do appreciate there's quite a lot of people up north who have never had a good cider in their life. My daughter has just gone to university, in fact, and she's at university in the north. And she said to me, I really miss the south because you can't go into a pub and order cider. They just don't have it. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, have some cider, have some fun, play with your friends. And then when darkness starts to fall, they light the bonfire. And this is where the feasting gets wilder. You would dance around the bonfire. You would then scuttle off into the bushes to carry on a maying. And hopefully 9 months later, you'd have a babe. Mayday is all about a celebration. It celebrates sensuality, it celebrates life, it celebrates flowers, it celebrates the sun. It is just a day of celebration. Unlike certain other festivals, there are undercurrents of not so many nice practices, such as the midsummer festivals and the harvest festivals. There tends to be an element of sacrifice at those festivals, human or otherwise. The Mayday festival is simply about revelry. And I think that's why I like it so much. It is wild, it's exuberant, and it is brilliant. So for this Mayday, I am definitely going to make my bonfire, make my feast, make dancing around the maypole, and make my man. If you'd like to learn more about this sort of traditional witchcraft that I practice, come and join me on Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/Ginny Metheral. There's a tier there for you. Otherwise, I'd really appreciate if you could just like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.